Have you ever wondered how to start programming in C#? If that's the case, you're in the right place. C#, pronounced as C#, is a modern and versatile programming language that was developed by Microsoft. It's like a Swiss Army knife of programming languages. Why, you ask? Well, because it can be used to create a wide variety of applications. From desktop applications that run on your computer, to web applications that can be accessed from anywhere in the world, and mobile applications that live in your pocket. It's this versatility that makes C# a go-to language for many developers. So whether you're looking to build the next big social media platform or a simple calculator app, C# has got you covered. Now that we have an understanding of what C# is, let's move on to setting up your programming environment. Before you start writing code, you need to set up your programming environment. This involves a few steps, but don't worry, we'll go through them one by one. First things first, we need a code editor. For C#, one of the best options is Visual Studio, a powerful tool developed by Microsoft. It's a versatile and user-friendly platform that is widely used by programmers of all skill levels. You can download the Community Edition, which is free and perfect for beginners. Simply visit the Visual Studio website, click on the download button, and follow the installation instructions. Once Visual Studio is installed, it's time to create a new project. Launch Visual Studio and look for the option that says Create a New Project. Click on it, and you'll see a list of project templates. For our purpose, we're going to select Console App under C#. Why Console App, you ask? Well, a console app is a simple application that takes input and displays output in a console window, also known as a command prompt. It's perfect for beginners because it allows you to focus on the logic of your program without getting distracted by graphical elements. After you've selected Console App, Visual Studio will ask you to name your project. You can choose any name you like, but try to keep it relevant to what your project is about. Once you've entered the name, click Create, and Visual Studio will set up a new project for you. It will automatically generate a basic C# program that you can run to see if everything is working correctly. This basic program includes several lines of code that might look a bit intimidating at first, but don't worry, we'll break everything down in the next scene. Remember, setting up your programming environment is a crucial first step in your coding journey. It might seem complicated, but once you get the hang of it, it's as easy as pie. Now that you have your environment set up, you're ready to write your first C# program. Writing a C# program begins with understanding its basic structure. Each line of code plays a crucial role in the overall functionality of the program. Let's break it down. We kick things off with using system. This statement is known as a namespace declaration. It essentially tells the program that we are going to use the system namespace, which is a collection of classes, interfaces, structs, enums, and delegates all bundled together. This particular namespace contains fundamental classes that are essential for a C# program. Next up is class program. Here we're defining a class named program. In C#, a class is a blueprint from which individual objects are created. Each C# program typically has a class with a main method, which serves as the starting point of the program. The static void main is the entry point of the program where execution begins. Static means that this method can be called without an instance of the class. Void indicates that this method doesn't return any value. And main is the method that gets automatically invoked when the program is run. Finally, we have console write line. Hello C#, welcome to your first C# program. This line is responsible for printing a message to the console. In this case, it will print, hello C#, welcome to your first C# program. The console is a class of the system namespace, and WriteLine is a method of the console class. So, to sum it up, we've included the system namespace, defined a class named program, set up the main method where the program starts executing, and printed a message to the console. Each of these steps is a fundamental part of writing a C# program. And there you have it, your first C# program. But how do we run it? You've written your program, now how do you see it in action? The magic happens when you compile and run your program. In Visual Studio, this is as simple as pressing the F5 key on your keyboard. This action instructs Visual Studio to compile your code, which essentially means translating it from C# into a language your computer understands. But what if you're more mouse-oriented? No problem. You can click on the Start button located at the top of the Visual Studio interface. This does the same thing as pressing F5. It compiles your code and then runs your program. When your program runs, it opens up a console window. This is where you'll see the output of your code. In our case, you should see the words, "Hello C#, welcome to your first C# program," displayed on the screen. Great job! You've successfully run your first C# program. Now that you've written and run your first C# program, let's discuss some key concepts you'll need to know. First up, we have variables. Think of variables as little boxes where you can store data. In C#, you might declare an integer variable like this: int age = 25. Here, age is the variable, int is the data type, and 25 is the value we're storing. Which brings us to our next concept, data types. C# has several data types to represent different kinds of data. For instance, int for integers, float and double for floating point numbers, char for characters, and string for text. Now let's talk about getting input from the user. The console readLine method is used for this. It reads a line of text from the console, which you can then store in a variable. Next in line are conditional statements. These are the if, else, and switch statements. They are used to perform different actions based on different conditions. For example, you might use an if statement to check if the user's age is over 18, and if so, print a message. Last but not least, we have loops. Loops are used to repeat a block of code multiple times. C# provides several types of loops, including for, while, and do while. For instance, you could use a for loop to print the numbers from 1 to 10. Keep in mind, these are just the basics. As you delve deeper into C#, you'll encounter more complex concepts like arrays, classes, and exception handling. But don't worry, every programmer starts somewhere, and you're already on your way. These concepts are the building blocks of programming in C#. Stay curious, keep experimenting, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's how the best learning happens. Happy coding! Now let's put these concepts to use by creating a simple calculator. Imagine a program that prompts the user to input two numbers and then adds them together. This is accomplished by first declaring three variables: 2 for the numbers to be added, and 1 for the result. We use the console readLine function to get input from the user. But wait, this function returns a string, not an integer. This is where data types come into play. We need to convert the string to an integer using the int parse function. Once we have our two numbers, we can perform the addition operation. We assign the result to our third variable. Finally, we print the result to the console using the console WriteLine function. This simple calculator is a great example of how these basic concepts work together in a C# program. You've made it to the end of your first C# lesson. So, what's next? Well, you're only just getting started. With the foundation laid, it's time to dig deeper into the world of C#. Expand your knowledge about variables, data types, and operators. These are the building blocks of your code, and understanding them is crucial to becoming a proficient programmer. Next, dive into control flow with if, else, and switch statements. These are essential tools that allow your code to make decisions. Then learn about loops like for, while, and do while. Loops enable your program to perform repetitive tasks efficiently. Finally, explore the realm of functions and methods. They help you organize your code into reusable logical chunks. Remember, journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Each new concept mastered is a step closer to your destination. This lesson provides a basic introduction to C#. As you progress, you can explore more advanced topics. Good luck on your C# learning journey.